Hello everyone, today I wanted to make a special video talking about my favorite family of aircraft, the Italian Fiat G.91 Gina family. Here I will go over the history of the aircraft, its history in War Thunder, and all the variants of the aircraft and what makes each one unique. In December of 1953, a competition was organized by NATO to create a lightweight tactical strike fighter known as NBMR-1, or Basic Military Requirement 1. 3 nations participated in this competition, those being the US, France, and Italy. But as you may know by now, Italy was the eventful victor with the G.91. The aircraft served across 3 different air forces: the Italian Air Force, the German Air Force, and the Portuguese Air Force. However, there were 3 other nations that were rather interested in the G.91 but never really made any deals with the Italians, those being Greece, Switzerland, and the United States. The G.91 family made its debut in War Thunder on the 25th of May 2017, when Gaijin released the major update 1.69 Regia Aeronautica, where Italian aircraft were finally introduced into the game in their own separate tech tree. After being in game for almost 9 years, the G.91 family has considerably grown since its release, now hosting 7 versions of the aircraft across 2 nations. So join me as we dive into the world of the Ginas, and by the end of the video do let me know which Gina is your favorite. But anyways, here we go. The Italian tech tree has 5 G.91s. However, 2 of them are a special case and will have their own video segment. So instead I will talk about the 3 Italian-made G.91s. These being the G.91 Pre-Series, R1, and Y. The G.91 Pre-Series is the first G.91 in the 5th rank of Italian aviation. Located right after the Bf-109 G14, it is the player's introduction to the G.91. This version has its strengths over the other Ginas, with a turn time of 26 seconds and a maximum speed of 1070 km per hour. This G.91 is an excellent dogfighter, with amazing flight performance and decent energy retention. However, your armament does lack in the firepower department, since you are armed with 4 12.7mm Browning machine guns. It might take some time to pepper your enemies to death. But do not let your maximum speed fool you, because if you go below 400 meters and you go beyond 1011 km per hour, you will rip your wings at level flight. The suspended armament on this G.91 is the smallest out of all the G.91s, however, this one only having 19 Mighty Mouse dump rockets, 2 Aerea 559 napalm bombs, and 2 500-pound M64A1 bombs. If you are into dogfighting, this G.91 is your G.91. This thing is an absolute monster in turning, and you can even get 3 to 5 kills per game. Then there's the G.91 R1, a significant upgrade over the Pre-Series, now hosting a brand new Bristol Orpheus Mark 803 engine, giving the R1 a higher top speed of 1084 km per hour, with also much better energy retention. It also comes with a new enforced airframe, which means you can now reach your maximum speed without having the previous issue of the Pre-Series, which was ripping your wings at sea level flight. However, due to the heavier upgrade, the R1 loses the lightness of the Pre-Series, making it a little bit of a heavier dogfighter. But this isn't a complete downgrade, as the G.91 R1 can also hold up a fight like her lighter sister. The R1 also receives an upgrade in suspended armament, not only being able to carry the previous weapons of the Pre-Series, but also gaining access to the Nord family of missiles, with the AS-20 for ground targets and the AA-20 for air targets, making the R1 a very solid pick for accompanying your tanks in ground battles. And finally, there's the G.91Y, also known as the Yankee. This is the top dog of the G.91 family and my favorite personal aircraft of all time. At first, you will notice that the airframe has changed drastically from previous G.91s, and right away you'll see that the aircraft now hosts two engines. These are two General Electric J.85 GE13A engines, the same engines you can see on the American F-5 Tiger. With these two new engines, the aircraft can now reach a maximum speed of 1,123 km per hour. However, the aircraft also becomes extremely heavy, meaning dogfighting becomes more difficult. But because of our new afterburning engines, retaining energy is not an issue. You'll also notice that the firepower of the aircraft has improved as well, replacing the old 450 cals with two hard-hitting 30mm DEFA 552 cannons. And the suspended armament is also heavily improved, with the ability to carry Mark 82 bombs with both regular and drag configurations, Mark 32 Sunni dump rockets, and the biggest member of the Nord family, the AS-30 Nord with a whopping 520 kg projectile mass. The Yankee is an absolute must in the Italian tech tree. Being a great fighter bomber, it will surely not disappoint you. The German tech tree has two G91s, both very similar to their Italian counterparts, but unique in their own way. These are the G91 R3 and R4. Located after the Horden 229 lies the G91 R3, Germany's version of the Gina. Given to Germany by Fiat to replace their aging F-84Fs, the German Gina was built in a unique way unlike her Italian sisters, having two DEFA 552 cannons and 4 hardpoints like the Yankee. She was born for close air support. However, this is still a Gina, so dogfighting is always a good tactic. The R3 is the only tech tree G91 in the German tech tree, meaning this is the only Gina you'll be able to use, at least for free. But she's armed to the teeth, with the ability to carry 4 Nords instead of just 2, making her an amazing strike fighter. But in order to use the Nord, you have to give up one of your guns, leaving you with less ammunition for gun runs or dogfighting. This G91 is the first premium G91 we will cover out of 2. This is the G91 R4, essentially a copy of the G91 R1 in the Italian tech tree. However, this Gina, like her R3 and Yankee counterparts, can also carry 4 hardpoints, meaning she can bring Nords, Mighty Mice, and all previously mentioned weapons. But also, she comes with a brand new type of weaponry, the AIM-9 Sidewinder, Modification B. She is able to carry 4 of these missiles, making her an excellent fighter in RRB. However, for ground RB, like the R3, you have to sacrifice one of your gun ports, but at least you get 2 50 cals instead of one single 30mm. But it's not that big of a difference because 50 cals, as I said before, take a little bit time to pepper people to death. Post-editing slime here. I forgot to include it as well, but the G91 R1 also suffers from this. So in case I missed that, I just wanted to let you guys know about that right here. If you are looking to grind the German air tech tree, or have a decent close air support option for your ground battles, then this G91 is your best bet. And now we move on to the final genus of the video. These two are the Portuguese G91 R4 and the Italian-Swiss G91 YS. In the premium line for Italy, you will find the G91 R4. This is an exact copy of the German G91 R4. However, this one comes in Portuguese colors. All previously mentioned tactics apply to this G91. However, a fun but a bit of a useless fact, this G91 has the largest selection of camouflages out of all the G91s, having 3 base game camouflages and 2 of them are also acquirable through the Gaijin market. If you're looking into grinding the Italian tech tree, this G91 can help you out. And finally, we have the G91 YS. This, as you may see, is another G91 Yankee. However, her story is a bit of a sad one. Switzerland wanted a new multi-role aircraft, so Italy proposed a newly built version of the aircraft. At first, you might think the YS might stand for Yankee and Swiss, but it actually stands for Sidewinder, as the Yankee was given the ability to carry AIM-9B Sidewinders, but unlike the R4, she could only carry 2 instead of 4. She also came with a brand new ballistic computer. However, Switzerland decided to buy the American F-5V Tiger II instead of the new G.91, and the only built G.91 YS never saw any action. The story of the G.91 didn't just end with Italy, Germany and Portugal, but both Greece and the United States bought a handful of this aircraft as evaluators. The G.91 family was truly the pinnacle of Italian aviation, and until 1991 the last G.91s retired, leaving behind a legacy like no other. And that's everything we have time for. Thank you all so much for watching. This video was an absolute joy to make, and I had tons of fun researching about my favorite aircraft. A huge shout out to Donut with Mustache and SK Doger for inspiring this video. Their channels will be in the description below if you want to check them out for yourself. But until then, we shall see each other again in the skies, pilot. Fly safe.